Well, for more, we can cross to Brussels, speak to our correspondent, Dave Keating. Morning to you, Dave. Tell us, they've been working through the night. What have they been focusing on?
Well, yeah, we've been told that this deal was imminent since yesterday, but they seem to have gotten caught up in some details at the last minute. I hear that what's causing the problem at the moment is the precise details of fish quotas, actually haggling line by line about the different species of fish and when and where they can be caught. So we are into the detail here. It does appear we are going to get a deal today. The question is when, and this keeps getting pushed later and later. We were told that we could maybe expect a phone call between European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and British Prime Minister Boris Johnson this morning. That hasn't happened yet as far as I'm aware. So we're still waiting, apparently, on these details about fish species. But then once that phone call happens, and if they can then finally seal this deal at that point, we are expecting press conferences from Johnson and von der Leyen this morning. But I think that the question is, the big thing the EU has been saying all along is nothing's agreed until everything's agreed. And so they have to settle these details as frustrating as this can be, especially on Christmas Eve morning. They have to settle these details before they can shake hands on a deal.
Okay, well, beyond the press conferences, let's assume there is a deal. What happens next?
Yeah, it's important to point out that that's not the end of the matter by any means. That just means that the European Commission, negotiating on behalf of the 27 EU governments, has concluded a deal with the UK government. But the Commission will then need to communicate that deal to the 27 national governments. It will only be a so-called dirty text. That means it won't be legally scrubbed, it won't be translated, but that's the version that the 27 governments are going to have to look at when they decide whether they want to give this provisional approval. That's the only option at this point. It's too late to give it full approval before the end of the transition period in 8 days. And so the council will decide, I'm told probably early next week, whether to go ahead and give this provisional approval to take effect on January 1st. It probably won't be the entirety of the free trade deal. It may just be sections of it that are provisionally applied. It depends what kind of deal we're looking at here. We still don't know. Then next year, the European Parliament would decide whether to give it its full approval. The 27 governments, the Council, would decide whether to give it their full approval. And maybe, depending on the complexity of the deal, the 27 national parliaments of the EU will also weigh in. The Commission has been hoping to avoid that last part. They can avoid needing national parliament approval if this is deemed to be an EU-only deal. But again, it depends on the complexity, and we'll find that out today if and when they do agree a deal. But it's important to point out that even if all of this is agreed and it all takes effect and the deal eventually is permanent, that's just a free trade deal. So much is going to change on January 1st, even if they announce a deal this morning. The UK will still be leaving the EU single market. That will entail huge changes. This free trade deal will only cushion the blow.
All right, thank you very much, Dave. Dave Keating reporting from Brussels.